Welcome back to this episode of the Balance Boldly podcast for ambitious women in business and a few brave men. I'm your host, Naketa Ren Thigpen, always ecstatic to be in the space with you. Well, for all of you who have been following the BBP for years and years and years, you have to know that September is a very special month for me. It is my new slate, my personal new year. It's my reawakening and coming back from the beautiful and brutally disruptive self-lovecation that I carve out every single year for 6 weeks so I can make sure that I can recalibrate and realign myself with everything that truly matters. We all get booked and I won't say busy, productive. We can all get pulled out of alignment when we're just trying to handle life storms and tsunamis and hurricanes that come in the midst of all of, hopefully, the joy that we're creating. So for me personally, with the heaviness of some of the pieces of the work that I do, I have to make sure that I have a personal space to carve out time for me to make sure that I am walking my talk and I am doing all the things I encourage my clients to do, to take care of themselves, to choose themselves, to be intentionally selfish enough to create that space so you can do whatever work you need to do and be on the next level for you and the multiple generations to come after you. It's beautiful and it is disruptive. And September gives me this wonderful, clean slate to just paint a new canvas of whatever reality I want to walk into, whatever adventure I want to play with this year going into next. So it's always an honor when I get to bring in people who I really like, and love to have fun with and play with and have conversations that we can really enjoy even when there's not a microphone in our faces. And this human, this potent human that I'm bringing to you today is one such person. He is, for all of you women out there, he is one of our brave men. Okay, we did not play at the BBP. We love our women, but we also love our men. So I have to welcome this wonderful, incredibly vivacious human who is here to shake up the world and make sure that you couples out there can have unshakable togetherness. My good friend, Uwe Dockhorn, welcome to the BBP. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Wow. I was just so busy taking notes while you're just spreading so much insights already. So I couldn't catch up with everything that you just said. There's so many things and I love it. And it's really an honor and pleasure being here today with you, Naketa. I love you too.
Oh, thank you. You know, I love you. You and I have been circling around each other for over a year at this point with loving on each other, praying for each other, making sure that we were okay behind the scenes as we're building these empires and pouring out so much of ourselves to the people we work with, referring each other to people, sharing the love, just doing such amazing things as good friends in business would do. And I have to say that one of the things that made me the most excited is maybe a month or so before I went off the grid for self-lovecation back in July, you were sharing with me some of the amazingness that you and your team were doing with the AIM experience. I would love if you could just take a moment and share with us what that is and why you decided to create this compared to all of the wonderful work you were doing before this moment.
Oh, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about the AIM experience because it is an experience after all. And so let's just start from the top. It's, it's a system that goes 3 levels deep. And this is just kind of like, the AIM is an acronym that stands for activation, implementation, and manifestation. And, what we do is first we need to activate something that I can share with you also, which is also the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then we go to implementation and then to manifestation. And I can dive into that a little bit later. But, I think what would be most interesting is what motivates me is really working with these high achiever families, these executives, these medical professionals, and their VIPs, as I call them, as you know. They're very important partners in their life. And so it's always fascinating how I came by this. And so what we do, as you already mentioned, is really to achieve unshakable togetherness. But, the situation that they are faced in, and typically what happens is in these high achiever families, I'm doing this now for more than 14 years, over 30,000 coaching hours now. And what I found was that in these high achiever families, from the perspective of the VIP, they feel they kind of like reside below, kind of like down here. When I have my hand here, you can see that, but it's kind of like very low. Yeah. And then on the other side, higher than this other hand, there's the breadwinner. And too often it's a situation like that. And of course, from the perspective of the VIP, they resent that. They ask themselves, what about me? I feel abandoned. What's the next step in my career? Why don't you spend more time with me and the kids and so on? And, the anguishing arguments start. And then from, the big D probably is looming at the horizon, and if they decide to go that path of divorce, essentially what it means is they decide to live an independent life outside of marriage. And this is why I come into the picture. And, also why I'm doing this, because what I also do differently is, because I'm not a family therapist, I'm not a family counselor, I coach both partners at the same time, but separately.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So they can regain their independence within their relationship and start to level up to each other. And as you know, we do this in regular evaluation sessions, which we call falling back in love sessions. Mm-hmm. Lots of goosebumps moments involved. As you know, we love goosebumps.
We do.
At us. And therefore they are able to upgrade to an interdependent relationship where they can enjoy unshakable togetherness, more free time, better results at work, and by practically eliminating the risk of a costly divorce.
Yeah. And loving themselves again along the way, which I think is a huge part of why I resonated with you and the work you do, because that's not something that a lot of people who work with couples, regardless of, coaching, therapy, whatever the acronym or titles may be at the time, they don't always make sure that they're helping the person inside the professional, like helping that individual as well reclaim who they're meant to be so they can bring that power back together in a more beautiful way. That's always something that we decided to do as a separator instead of only couple sessions as well. And there were a lot of people in our industry, I'm a clinician by background, and they didn't vibe with that. They felt like that was something you only do if it's trauma involved, or, so an individual has a heavier situation that they need to individually resolve, versus just the fact that you lose yourself in any relationship. In business relationships, you can easily start to compromise so much. And I know that you don't do compromising work, but you can compromise so much of yourself with trying to create agreements in business and in, forever lover relationships, that one day you look up and you forget who you really are. What is your favorite color? What do you love to eat? What do you like to play? What movies do you like to watch? Versus always like, oh, well, we watch this, we eat that, we do this. And at some point, there's a fire of resentment that can grow and fester. And to your point, it could easily help glide those families that were already maybe experiencing some communication issues and some other challenges. It's like slippery ice that they're now sliding on towards that big D, to your point. And that can be a challenge. So I'm curious, what brought you to this work? What made you decide, you know what, I can help a lot of people? And you have an incredible business background and all the things that you come to the table with. You could have gone in so many different areas. What made you want to aim, pun intended here, yourself directly at creating such a beautiful experience, not only for the family, but for all of the people that they would then be connected to, who could model after the healing work that they just completed?
Yeah, so, for myself, it wasn't just kind of like I started with that. I said, you know, I mentioned I was, 14 years ago, I started with my coaching work, but then over the years, it became closer that, besides also the fulfillment for ourselves, the personal development, I saw these patterns, because what happened was, typically that, the VIPs came to me and said, well, you did a great job with my spouse, so I would like to that you coach me too. And so at that point, I realized there is this pattern. But, you know, we have to go a little bit further back to really go to the pivotal moment, if I may, to where it all started, because it wasn't always like this, you know. So let's go first back a little bit in the past and then a little bit further, if that's okay with you.
Yes, absolutely.
So it really started 6 days before Christmas, you know, in 2016, when my mother died. And, you know, I always cherished that I was there for her, holding her hands when she left. And I loved my family. And, you know, I call it always a safe haven. And although, you know, they gave me their love and protection as a young boy, I was sexually abused, and I told no one. And, you know, after I lost two very important family members, my uncle when I was 16 and my dad when I was 23, something just broke inside of me. And I started to believe, you know, the remaining members of my family had given up on me. So I distanced myself from them, even my mother, because I felt I couldn't risk opening up to them. So I became isolated, separated from friends, lost my job, was overwhelmed physically and emotionally exhausted, and felt, you know, there was no reason for being in this world.
Yeah.
I wasn't sad or angry. The truth is, I didn't feel anything at all.
You were numb.
That's, absolutely. And that's when I found myself at the edge of a bridge. And it was one cold winter night, and I could see my breath as I slowly leaned forward. I let go. But at that moment, something happened. And for the very first time since my father had died, I felt something inside me. And it drew me back from jumping.
Wow.
It literally saved my life. And that night, I learned the most important lesson. I learned that transformation requires more than letting go of the status quo. So without the other half of the equation, letting go leaves you just in free fall.
Right.
And if all I had done on that bridge was let go, then I would not be here talking to you today. So you're probably wondering, what is the other half, right?
I'm also thankful in this particular breath, in this breath that I'm having right now. I'm so grateful that you didn't let go of yourself when you were about to let go of your life. And I would have never had the opportunity and privilege to meet you. So I'm thankful for that, as I'm sure so many of your friends, family, and clients are in this moment. So that's actually the thought that I'm having right now. And yes, now I would like to know, what's the other half?
Now we have the attention. So what is on the second half of the equation? And you know what? It is to feel, perceive, and let in.
Yes.
What is already there.
Yeah.
So letting go and letting in, it's a two-part mechanism. And they're only complete as a pair, always.
Yeah.
And on that bridge, all those years ago, I let in a small spark that grew into a powerful flame. And I made myself a promise that I'm still keeping today, to make it my life's mission to help others learn this secret. Because letting go and letting in is crucial for your well-being and your family's happiness.
Yes.
yeah, letting in energy, positive thoughts, and a sense of certainty, letting go of self-doubt, fear, negativity, and stress.
Yes.
And it really is that simple. And the more you do it, the more it happens. It's like a switch that you can consciously flip to strengthen and re-energize your relationship with your partner every single day.
Yeah. 1,000%.
And in addition to that, this letting go and letting in switch is also your anti-burnout system. And it even can divorce-proof your marriage. So that's why I do what I do, because this is kind of like the story, the pivotal moment I experienced, that at one point it just became so clear after I lost my mother, that this would be my new mission in life, to help these families to achieve that unshakable togetherness.
I love this so much on so many levels. Some of what I've already said about you being here and being able to do the greater work that you're doing. But also I'm seeing what a lot of our listeners don't have the opportunity to see right now, because I am so stubborn and I refuse to not have Balance Boldly be anything but its purest form of the podcast. So they can't see you on video the way that I can, but I see the joy in your eyes. I see you lighting up as not only you told the story with so much power, which is your truth and your history, but there's a lot of pain, obviously, that led to that moment. And you've clearly gotten through it. I don't believe there's ever a getting over. It's a getting through, so you can take those lessons and those blessings with you along the way. And I could see it on your face. So I honor you for your vulnerability, and I thank you for that. And it shows why you're able to do such great work, because this is personal for you. This isn't just something you decided, you know what, I can make a little money if I do, right? Like if I do this thing, if I choose this particular career path. And, for everyone listening out there, we know money matters. We're not saying money doesn't matter. Money helps the world go round. It allows you to be a philanthropist. It allows you to be altruistic. It allows you to support people. It allows you to grow yourself and your legacy, whatever that is, because legacy is not just about having children, people, but that's a whole different separate show. With that said, I can see that you being so ignited by that spark that started so many moons ago out on a bridge, which was basically a ledge, is literally blooming in you right now. And I'm really grateful to have an opportunity to see that in you versus hoping that I could visualize it. I could literally see it on your face. So thank you, Uwe.
Thank you, Naketa, for these kind words. We're already getting into goosebumps territory. Thank you for that.
I'm feeling. That's why I have on a sweater today. I'm already feeling it.
No, but it's so true. What you just said is that these experiences, and this is how it looks like on the other side.
Yeah.
So I went through that. And, there's always this letting go part, but we're so focused on letting go that, and nobody teaches us that,
right.
Unless now, right? So because the more important part is the letting in part. And, what I help my clients with is definitely letting in and allowing yourself, being in independence land.
Yeah.
Because it's a total different paradigm than being in dependence land, and you can only cross that border, that edge, when you let go and let in something else that is already there waiting for you. So this is what I realized also after I did let go, there was something else for me. And so that's the key insight I would like to share with our listeners here. There is something on the other side. And when you go that path, you don't want to go back.
Right.
And it's not that, you have to stay on the other side. But we could talk hours and hours how it would feel being on the other side. But at the end, it's an experience. Therefore, the aim experience, because I can walk you through that. To that point where you can let go of the 800-pound gorilla, let's put it that way, that is still sitting on your shoulder and blocking you.
Yeah.
Let go of that, and then, guided by me, experiencing probably for the first time in your life, what else is there? Because you cannot think yourself through transformation. You have to feel and perceive it.
Come on. Go ahead. Please go there. Because we have a lot of cerebral people that listen to this podcast, and I relate to them because I'm a cerebral person as well who grew into being in touch with my deeper self and my intuition. And when you're cerebral, you think that you can information your way into the next thing. You can problem solve it with the books and the texts and the Google and the YouTube University and the right and all the things, because it's almost like the engineering part of you that's like, oh, if I can just put my hands on it. But there's so much that you're talking about, that we talk about in the work that we do, that you cannot physically put your hands around, but it is actually suffocating you and stifling your dreams of being whoever it was that you thought you would be one day, someday, when you were 5 and felt untouchable in dreamland. Oh, please talk about that.
I hear you. I totally hear you. So, and it really is that, because you're so stuck in these recurring patterns, and I always, say that sometimes it really is like this stop sign that is showing up in your life, like a hand that is just kind of, I'm running in circles now and putting my hand in front of my face in circles, and this is showing up again and again and again and so on. And you wonder yourself, why is this showing up in myself? But at the end of the day, it's just a message from the past, from your belief system that you programmed in the past yourself. And it's just telling you, hey, everything okay as you programmed me in the past. But of course, without knowing better, you just accepted it as it is, and it keeps you in these negative loops. And therefore, you start to believe, oh, that's just who I am. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this cannot be further from the truth, because change is possible. Transformation is possible. I've experienced it. Hundreds of my clients have experienced it. I see it over and over again. Raising
my hand right now.
So yes, and this works. But it's an experience. It's not just thinking yourself through that, as you were just mentioning it, and that's why it is so powerful. Because on the other side, when I was referring to that, you will experience and you will create a memory that you can fall back on. So you will I ask you questions, you will answer them coming out of yourself, about yourself, who you are, and going the first steps within this more positive and hopeful version of yourself.
Yeah.
And this is the memory we create, having goosebumps right now. Sorry. I'm always at the moment when this is happening, because this is where it happens, where you are closest to yourself and you are creating it for yourself. You determine your independence. Nobody else is doing that. And when you're on the other side in independence land, that's your path. The only catch here is you have to honor it.
Right.
Because everything is, you're independent to do whatever you like. And because you're in charge. Nobody else is doing it for you. So you have to create that honor system for yourself, to honor it. Otherwise, you will fall back in dependence, like being a codependent partner or falling back into old patterns, lifestyles, or false beliefs. And that's never a good solution.
No, I love that. I even love that you ended with the H of, that acronym we talked about moons ago when I was on your show with Catch. The H is honor those agreements. And that includes those agreements with yourself, which is another reason that I just love you, babe. You know that. Oh. And this also symbolizes for me why you're considered the lifestyle liberator for so many of your clients. To the example that you were just using, you are helping them release themselves from those lifestyle anchors, those bookmarks that they've been holding themselves to, feeling trapped and not understanding why, but they were tethered to those anchors. And when they come into your experience and receive the AIM experience, they get to release themselves from that and be liberated into that independence and not necessarily be stuck in maybe a codependent relationship or whatever may have been occurring before. So I super appreciate the work that you're doing, and it's needed. It's necessary. I know I love my power couples and my potent humans, but I don't want to work with everyone. I don't have capacity for it. So I love that there's someone else in the world that I can honestly say, you know what? Let me call up a friend. This is who you need. You need this person to help you with this experience. Literally, pun intended again. But I appreciate you for so much of what you're doing. And I have to ask you, as I ask all of our experts, how are you giving yourself permission to pause with all this work that you're out here doing every day and sharpening tools and liberating people? How are you giving yourself permission to pause?
Well, I drink my own champagne, so not to say I don't eat my own. You have to eat your own dog food, because who wants to eat dog food, right? So
right.
So therefore, of course, I'm doing this for so many years now. Essentially the letting in part, and that is the crucial moment. So to prepare and see when I'm kind of like on that edge again, literally on the edge of not, to let go, but to, essentially, letting go of, the style of how I approach my day. And if it's kind of like getting to the borders of my scope, then I see, we're getting to the edge. So I have to let go of going to the edge and let in. So what is it that I can do and allow myself to do? And as we were saying before we started in this recording, so I decided to go to another holiday. So just to have that time off.
Yes.
Now in September, because I know that fall, winter will be nuts. So hopefully we're going to have more time also to experience this together.
Yes.
Because there's so much more we haven't talked about that will come after that. And just keeping you informed about that. But, because I know that it's coming, I said, no. Of course, you have to let go, let in, and bring in the energy as you would just coming back from such a period. So it's really that is necessary. And because you are in independence land, you can determine and say, okay, so what works for me? I have to just make the decisions. I'm in charge. I can do that. And then just put it on your calendar, because if it's not on your calendar, it won't happen.
So true. So
just
true.
Stick to it. I think that's the secret behind it. Just stick to it. But I think many can feel that, listeners can feel that it's, sometimes it feels impossible to make these decisions because we are so jacked into our daily routines and so on. So I suggest there would be a kind of like a weekly preview and review part, or a monthly one, or just, that you have regularly also put on your calendar, that you can, something is popping up and reminds you at least, like, hey, have 10 minutes to be strategic, to look ahead, honor, be grateful for what you have achieved, and look forward what is coming. And is there time for you to take care of yourself and honor that? As I mentioned early on, it only works if you honor yourself. And so I think that's how I would, a little bit long-winded answer, but
I love it. I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, confirmation, right, of all the ways that I've honored myself in it. And the reason I can do it now is because I was so bad at it before. And the consequences, the cost of not taking care of myself, right? Raising hand. The cost of not putting me first in those ways really did add up and created a toll that my body is still paying for. I have a rare autoimmune now that I'm not saying I caused, but I think my habits of being addicted to stress and being a super overachiever, working 5 jobs at a time while in a master's program and then a doctorate program and all those things with a family, I think it exacerbated it. I think it turned on a button that was in my genes that may have always been there, but I'm pretty sure that I was part of the catalyst for it coming on. And now it's not a button that I can necessarily turn off. It's one I can manage and I can maintain, but I'm still paying the cost from something decades ago of not choosing myself first. So I hear you completely. And I'm a living example and confirmation of the difference you can make when you finally decide to turn it around. You can do it at any age. You don't have to be 20, because we hear that a lot. A lot of our listeners are in their mid 30s through 50s and they feel like, oh, I'm getting too old, or I'm already past my time and I can't do it. I'm stuck with this human. There's nothing I can do. He's never going to change. She's never going to change. Right.
Yeah, I hear that too. And you know what? I work with, clients who are beyond 60 or even older. And you know what they tell me? It's like, finally, I can feel something that I was looking for all these decades and decades. And they also say at the beginning, often say, do you think it's really worthwhile to say, well, if you get to that point and you experience that, and nobody said ever, oh, I want to go back to that.
Right.
I was before.
So nobody said ever, let's go back.
Let's go back to that old feeling that I carried for so many decades, and it's never too late. And you don't know what you don't know to experience, what you're ready to experience, what will be there for you, waiting for you. So it's already there. It's kind of like, this thing under your nose that you can't see properly, but there's something, and you have a feeling of, hey, I can't grab it. It's not real. So, but I can assure you it is there.
Yes.
And it's just waiting for you.
Yes, it's just waiting for you, which is why you need someone like Uwe Dockhorn in your life who can liberate you from that previous lifestyle. Like I did that.
Wonderful. Like we trained in the beginning.
That's right. He trained me up. No, I'm just joking.
No, just kidding.
This is why I love you. I would love for you to share with everyone how they can connect with you to find out more about the work you're doing, and specifically the AIM experience, which is very pivotal in this hour.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Naketa. And so it's easy. You just go to my website. It's www.uwedockhorn.com. That's UWEDOCKHORN.com. And you find case study, you find dates for my next upcoming live demonstration of how I help my clients to experience this unshakable togetherness. And it's always the first Tuesday of the month. So always look out on the website. You will find the one for the next one. And this is a live demonstration. You don't need your credit card. So it's really engaging. There's cameras on, and it's just a Zoom call where I walk through all the processes and the systems that we put in place, and to achieve abundance in your life and for you and your partner. And so, there's, as I said, there's no credit card needed. You just at the end can decide if you want to continue the journey with me and have a call with me. That's all. And so, very valuable. And there's no recording. So there's always live engagement. So that's what we encourage. And bring your life partner.
Yes. Bring that VIP. That's in your life.
You're allowed to bring your VIP. No extra cost.
This time, but next time, no, I'm joking.
No. It's always free.
It's always free. No, I love it. Thank you so much for just carving out time before the holiday that's coming up for you, in the midst of all of the great things that I don't even know all, but my ears were peaking. I got goosebumps when you said that. I planted that seed. I heard it. Of all the things that are happening for you this fall. This is a beautiful and magical month and year, I believe, that's coming, because we get to choose our own adventure when we liberate ourselves from the lifestyle that's no longer serving us. And I thank you for the work that you're doing in the world, Uwe. We appreciate you here at the BBP. You're welcome anytime.
Oh, thank you, Naketa. I love you. I appreciate you very, very much, what you do. And it's amazing. And it's always a pleasure and honor talking to you. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Balance Boldly listeners, what did I tell you? I said we were not playing games in 2022 with every single potent human that we were bringing to you, so you could get access to all of these wonderful journeys, these nuggets of how people are creating work, life, and love balance their way, whatever that means for them. There is no one way. There is no right way. It's just the way that works for you, so that you can do all the great things that you're supposed to do in the world too. So until next time, I have to ask you what I ask you at the end of every single episode, which is enjoy the balance of your day, but do it boldly.